Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Berserker Klauz show on this wonderful 4th of July weekend. So, today is Friday, and if anybody is really who they really are, they're probably not working today. They're probably just sitting at home doing absolutely nothing, enjoying the frickin' day, and just going, hey, you know what? It's the 4th of July. Why am I at work? Oh yeah, because I have to be there, Um, you know, because some people still have to work, because some companies still, do things like my company, we drive people around to the airport all freaking day because we're like a taxi service or we're like a bus service or a shuttle service, so we have to work, okay? And, you know, besides, fireworks are probably going to go off on Saturday, not on Friday, because it's the weekend, and they realize that more and more people have the weekends off. But, you can do whatever you want to do. It's pretty much your life. So, I've been sitting here in bed and realizing to myself that, if you really want to watch this, you can. If you don't want to watch this, you don't have to. You can just go through your Instagram or your Facebook page and look at boner ads all goddamn day. Because, those things are really fun to watch. People talking about stupid salt tricks and fucking putting salt under your tongue so you get a massive boner. Yay. No, it doesn't work. It's lies. It's it's fucking lies. It's spending money that you don't fucking have because you're trying to get pharmaceutical companies to fucking you know, to basically pay their employees. You know what? If nobody took the fucking pills and nobody cared, then, would it actually really work? Does it actually really does anybody really actually care how big their dick is? I mean, I don't think really any guys really do care. I think guys are just trying to live healthy. I think that's what they want to do. They want to live healthy. So, you want to know what you do to live healthy? If nature don't make it, don't take it. So, if you want to live healthy, go drink, go get oranges and put a whole bunch of oranges inside of a juicer and drink the orange juice. Um, you know, because buying a bottle of orange juice. I mean, how do you even know if that's real orange juice? I mean, did you watch the guy make the bottle yourself, and did you watch him, put it in the container and everything else? It just says 100% orange juice on it, so people are like, okay, it's 100% orange juice, but really, is it 100% orange juice? The world may never know. A lot of people use their left side of their brain, and a lot of people use their right side of the brain. But me, I use the whole entire thing because I wonder a lot of shit. Like when people get in an Uber, when people get in an Uber, do they really even understand? Like, do they know their driver? Or are they just getting in a person's car because they just want to ride? You know? I mean, like, you get in an Uber and this guy has, before you even get, before you even get in the Uber, when you, accept the dude, he has a phone profile. So basically, I'm going to get inside of a car with a guy named Mike or with a guy named Billy or Ahmed or something like that because you see his profile. And then you get inside the car and you think, okay, this guy is going to take me to the airport and, he's going to let me sit in his car and he's not going to care if I, you know, I mean, he'll kick me out if I throw up in his car or, 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 or if I'm, like an asshole inside of his car. He doesn't really care. It's just like, you know, he's entrusting me to jump into his car and take me to the airport. And I'm going to pay him like, $140 or $200 to drive me to the airport when I could have just, spent, $53 or $70 on a shuttle service that actually goes to the airport, that actually has a rating and is done by the Better Business Bureau, and actually they pay their drivers to, take you to the airport. I mean, I don't know. I mean, people make decisions for such weird things. Like, I mean, I wonder what people think of me when they get in my van when I work for a groom. They're like, they're like, dude, what's this guy like? And, and we have a conversation. I mean, but I wonder if they're actually thinking, God, this guy is probably a nutcase, or this guy probably lives his life in a basement, down in an apartment somewhere, and is a big loser or something. I don't fucking know. But you wonder what people think about people all the time when they look at somebody. Me, I'm not a person who, like, is proud that I live by myself. I mean, one of the biggest things about living by yourself, and one of the things that really gets me, is, like, if you died in your house, like, who the hell would know that you're dead? I mean, like, okay, so, like, say you died. Literally, you died in your house. And you had, like, okay, your house, people don't know that your house is even locked or open, or, your house could be locked. Because most people lock their house. Yeah, people lock their house all the time. Because they're afraid that somebody's going to break in, or they're afraid that somebody's going to, come into their house and, kill them when they're sleeping, or come into their house and do something to them when they're just, just, watching TV or doing whatever. But, so, okay, say you're living by yourself and you die in your house, okay? You have social media and you haven't posted anything for like 4 weeks, or like 2 weeks or 4 weeks, and your friends go, God, Jack hasn't posted anything for a while. I wonder if he's okay. Maybe we should look in on him. Maybe we should, check in on him, see if he's all right. It's probably just a thing. And then all of a sudden they go, well, maybe, we'll take a look. Like, you have that, sister, or you have that, family member that wonders, what's going on. Or you have that friend who posts a message every once in a while and says, hey, buddy, like my friend Brendan, who posts all the time and says to me, like, things like, hey, what are you doing? Well, here's the thing with me on that. So, if you were to die, and one of your friends were to come over and knock on your door, well, first of all, in my apartment, you have to, like, hit an intercom system. And if you hit the intercom system and then it goes, they're like saying, hey, what apartment does Jack live in? Or, or somebody like that or whatever. They hit 3, and then they're not getting in touch with anybody. And then, then somebody would be like, well, Jack lives in 3. And then, like, well, everybody in my apartment, as soon as, like, I don't go outside or I don't do anything, everybody in my apartment wonders what's going on, because, like, we have people in the apartment that are just so nosy that, because, like, one night, one of my friends from work was driving me home because I didn't have my car. Oh, by the way, I got my car back, and I got my car from Dahl Automotive, and they did all the work on my car, and, sometimes I'm wondering if I, got literally hosed over, or if I'm just, if I'm just in the wrong, but I don't really care. I mean, they did the car. I paid for the car. I mean, my parents paid for the car, but I'm going to be paying it back. So, the thing is that, I'm going to be paying to get the car taken care of, because if I would have had my own credit card, I would have been able to pay for the car myself. But see, this is another thing that's a learning experience. So I paid all my credit cards off, and I paid all of my debts except for two things. I have two things that I owe in my debt to income. So I have an $11,000 car payment that I owe for a car that's not even mine. I was basically, a co-signer on it, and the car got repossessed, and it's gone now. So I owe $11,000 to Ally Bank for a car that I don't even have. And then I went and refinanced my car that I have now, and I got a $14,000 loan from a company called One Main Financial in town. So now I owe almost $34,000 or $35,000 on loans, which doesn't even seem to help with anything that I had, because considering the fact of the matter is that I only owed $6,000 on the car. They paid the car off, and then they gave me an extra $5,000 to help out with other things, or help me, with everything, but with interest and loans and everything else, the loan came to $14,000. So I've made payments on it, and I'm doing good, and it's helping my credit score, and yada, 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 and I'm getting myself taken care of. But I'm giving myself more debt to income. So I guess I didn't really think about it until now, because I've researched it, and I was like, oh, I didn't help myself out. I didn't do a damn thing to better myself. I made it worse. Just, isn't that how it always fucking is? You think you're making it better, but it actually is making it worse. So, yeah. But see, I was always told that if you get credit cards, right, they're good to have. They're good to have if you know how to take care of them. Credit cards are good to have if you know how to use them. And basically, credit cards, all you're supposed to do is use them for emergencies. Or save the fucking money, You basically never spend any of your money unless you really need it on something. That's basically what I've always been told. Is, if you really and truly want something that time, and you don't have the money to do it, don't buy it. Just wait until, it comes a time when it's cheaper, or when it's whatever. It's like with Black Friday, okay? So all these manufacturers, that make products and stuff, know that people on Black Friday would go completely and utterly insane for a product. And then a week later, after Christmas, or after all these stupid sales are done, the thing's a hell of a lot cheaper. And people just don't, So instead of waiting for it and running around like an idiot on Black Friday, just wait for it to be cheaper after 2 days, or after a month later. I mean, nothing is worth killing yourself over. I mean, it's not even worth it to just kill yourself over something. I mean, yes, I want a Jeep, but I'm not going to kill myself to go get a Jeep. I'll just drive around with what I have until I can get a Jeep, I mean, the world we live in now is so funny that people are so intoxicated by, the greatest thing that comes out on TV. It's finally realized. I mean, I've actually realized to myself that after how many seasons of watching reality shows, after watching reality shows of the Jersey Shore and Florida Bama Shore and all those TV shows, why do people watch them? I mean, it's like Vinny, when Vinny does his thing from the, you guys know Vinny from the Jersey Shore, right? Well, he talks about he has a thing where I think he watches Love Island, and then he recaps the show for Love Island. So he recaps the show, and like he sits there and he tells people what happened on the show. Because people, I don't know, people are glued to their TVs to watch Love Island. I don't even know where even to fucking start. See, I watched The Jersey Shore back when it first came out, and then when I started watching it, people were like, well, oh yeah, you're just watching the show because you want to see JWoww naked, or you want to see Snooki naked, or you want to see whatever naked, because, that's what I really and truly care about all the time. I mean, when guys are single and lonely, yeah, they want to look at a girl, but, but do girls want to look at guys when they're single too? I mean, what do they look at? I mean, the world we live in is completely and utterly a weird place, I mean, if a guy has an infatuation with a girl that he knows he's never going to get with because, one, he doesn't have enough money to take care of that woman, or two, he's just a guy who's very sensitive and very down all the time, and then, he has feelings, but then she runs all over him like he's a fucking, like he doesn't have a heart, and all she does is just uses him. I mean, relationships are really weird now, because I've learned stuff from actually being married to, now being single, and to, say to myself, God, I put all this hard work into being in a relationship to what? To get nothing out of it other than, being with a woman for 10 years that you learned so much about, that you still haven't learned all the things about her. No, you haven't. You can never learn so much about a person, unless you actually lived with that person since they were a baby till now. Yeah. And nowadays, I think relationships are jokes. I really do. I mean, I've been married, and then I've, been in, relationships with people, and I just think they're jokes, because why the fuck would you sit here and try to be with somebody and bend over backwards for them and do all sorts of shit for them to 10 years later just be like, oh yeah, we're not interested in each other anymore. We don't have a flame. We don't have anything. And then, you go out to a bar, or you go to a, or you go to a strip club, and every time you walk into the door of a strip club, you have a drink in your hand, you're sitting there at a table, and you're just, looking around the ambiance of the room, and you're watching the room, but then this chick comes up to you, and she starts talking to you like, hey, how are you doing today, sexy? How are you doing today, beautiful? Or how are you doing today, man? Do you want me to take my clothes off for you for $53? Will I give you 3 lap dances? No. You know what I want to do? I want to take that $53 and I want to take you to to Buffalo Wild Wings and have a conversation with your ass and sit there and talk to you, or take that $53 and put it in my gas tank of my vehicle and take a ride out to the wilderness and sit underneath the stars on a tailgate or something like that, and not, have you take your clothes off and act like you really give a shit about me when you really fucking don't. I mean, it's the thing is that when you go to a strip club, nobody there at the strip club gives 2 shits about you unless you give them money, which is so fucking stupid. I mean, I understand it's a place of business and it's a place to make money, but you know what strip clubs really are? I call them the Devil's Playhouse. Because basically, the guy that owns the strip club is probably a creepy fucking owner. He's he's either probably he's probably a guy who is very, very lonely. He's either single or gay, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, he can be whatever he wants to be, And he's just trying to get people to come into the establishment because, one, he built this establishment for people to come and, give money, and then they pay these girls to basically make them happy, But one time I've gone to a couple strip clubs, and I walked in there, and I understand that the women there are trying to basically, sell themselves to make a buck, so it's prostitution. So I watched this old guy. This guy had to have been, this guy was legendary. He was probably in his 80s, 85. And I sat down next to him. He was in the table next to me. He was talking to one of the girls, and he was sitting there talking about how he just lost his wife of so many years. And then he basically, got her insurance policy or whatever. He paid for the funeral and gave her a proper burial. And now he's all like, well, hey, I'm going to, go out in a blaze of glory because, she's not around. So he was sitting here just giving like hundreds and hundreds of dollars to a stripper. And I'm just sitting here like going, dude, you could give that to your niece and nephews, to your kids, or, or whatever, and not do that kind of stuff, because all you're doing is you're just basically giving a chick your money for only like, a 30-second lap dance. I mean, there's a lot more that you can spend your money on. I mean, you can go to strip clubs if you really and truly want to. It's your choice. I mean, you can have fun, or you can spend that money on something else, And a lot of people sit here and they sit here and they follow, they follow people and they wonder why they do things. Like, when you go to places of business, like when you go to Walmart and you want to buy deodorant, do you buy deodorant because you see the company, the ads that it posts or the ads that it shares? Or do you buy it because you like the smell? Or do you like it because you've tried it and it doesn't burn your testicle area, or it doesn't make your arms break out, it doesn't make you, itch or deteriorate, or like, it doesn't make you feel like you're allergic to it. It doesn't give you a reaction, you know what I'm saying? So, like, everybody goes to places and buys like, Dolce and Gabbana. They go buy like all these like really expensive, colognes. And they buy all this one, and then there's this stupid one that keeps on coming on. It's called Cupid, and it's got pheromones in it. Okay? And this cologne is supposedly supposed to make women go nuts when they see you. Well, you know what? If you want women to go nuts when they see you, just walk around with a hat made out of $100 bills. Like, one of the things that I don't understand is like when you go to clubs or when you go to dinner or when you go to restaurants or you go to places. Oh, so women always sit there and they want to talk about a guy who's got confidence in themselves. I walk into a club because if I walk into Buffalo Wild Wings, I'm not trying to walk out with a chick. I'm trying to walk in there, eat some fucking food, and go the fuck home. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going there to fucking munch on some fucking wings. I don't give a flying fuck if your name is fucking Betty and your boobs are the size of fucking Texas. I don't give a shit. That's the same way with me going into Hooters. I don't care if you're a girl who works at Hooters and you're walking around in a tight little skimpy fucking shirt with your boobs and your cleavage out and you're wearing orange fucking shorts. I don't give a shit. I want the wings. That's what I'm there for. You can talk to me all you fucking want. but I'm not going to do anything for you. Yeah, I tip you because I feel bad because, at the end of the meal, I tip you because, you're probably sitting here trying to sell yourself, which you don't need to fucking do, and, I give you a tip because I know what it's like to be a server, because I've had friends in the fast food industry, or I've had friends in the industry. And they always say that nobody tips worth a damn. Okay, if you want to fucking know what it's like to be in the industry, watch the movie Waiting. Okay? That is what the restaurant business is exactly like. I'll tell you right fucking now. If you don't fucking believe me, just watch the movie Waiting. Because every time you go to a restaurant, there are people that are in the back. This is the reason why you don't fuck with the cooks and everything, because they're the ones that make your meal. This is the reason why people need to start cooking at home, is because they don't know what really happens back there. But I'll tell you, just live your life and enjoy what you got. I mean, everybody sits here and they talk about, better ways of living their lives. Well, if you do stuff, do it at home, But people live their lives every day like people live their lives every day like, they just have a purpose in life. They serve a purpose in life and they wonder what it is. Like, see, you make a choice every day. You make a choice every day. Do I buy a rock star or do I buy a monster? Buy whatever makes you, feel good. It's going to kill you no matter what, because the sugar intake on it is bad. I mean, I had a girl at work the other day, Brittany. She told me, she goes, those things, those energy drinks kill you. And I said, you're absolutely right. They probably do kill you. But the thing is that if you do it in moderations, you can take those. Or you can go and do an alternative source. So there's a company called Berserker Pouches, which these Berserker Pouches, what they are, is their caffeine. Their caffeine inside of a little, a little thing that's kind of like, basically what they are is you put it under your tongue or you're under your lip, like you're doing too. Yeah. You put it under your tongue or you're under your lip, and then it's got caffeine in it. Yeah, and it's got caffeine in it. And basically it's got caffeine in it, and basically it's supposed to make you, have no crash. So it's better than drinking a Rockstar or a Monster. And I bought the stuff, and I thought it was really cool. And, and now, after I bought it, the price went back up, and now it's, really expensive. And to buy 11 different flavors or 15 different flavors, it's like $70-$80 now. Because before I bought the sample pack and it was like $65, but they were good. I liked them. I thought the product was great. And now all of a sudden I go to buy it again and it's like I think it's like $70 for the sample pack now. But, every time I try to go and buy it, I can't, because I don't have any extra money, because we live in a world where everything is so cost effective, because, they're trying to worry about tariffs and all this other fucking shit when, we're just trying to live our lives. We're trying to live our lives as human beings. That's what I think. I don't really know. I mean, every day there's something on the news about someone doing this or someone doing that, or, government spending here or government spending there or whatever. I mean, whatever happened to just living your life and enjoying it while you were alive? I mean, that's what people used to do. They don't do that anymore, I guess. I don't know. Um, but like, but that's what I've always wondered about people is I've always wondered what people think of me. Like, you know, like I tell people that I play a non-traditional Santa Claus called Camo Claus. You know, I mean, do people think, oh, that's cute or that's cool? Or do people think, oh my God, this guy's a psychopath? Does he dress up and come to your house and like, slash you at night or what? I mean, I mean, I, I had this dream. I basically had this dream, right? And it's just kind of started out kind of like, you know how like when you used to call the movie phone guy and it was like one man, one desire, that kind of guy, like, and it was like, well, so I was sitting here thinking like what people thought of Camo Claus, and all of a sudden I was like sitting there going, you know, like, it's kind of like he sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. But it doesn't have to be December for him to take your life. Or something like that, I mean, like, what do people think when they see Camo Claus? Do they think, oh my God, this guy's a funny, cool dude? Or do they think, oh my God, this guy's a flippin' psychopath that needs to live in a padded wall and a room and talks about Christmas 365 days a year? I'm sorry. I mean, like, literally, Elf was the same kind of thing, except for that guy looked more creepy than Santa Claus did. Or, well, he wasn't really Santa Claus. He wasn't Santa Claus, because you can't be the real Santa Claus, okay? The real Santa Claus is, like, over 1,700 years old. Yes. He's, like, very legendary. He's, like, he's, like, superior, But, like, but Santa Claus's cousin, I mean, that's what I play. And, I mean, what if Santa Claus's cousin one day just, like, snapped and just turned around and was like, like, I'm going to deck your halls, bitch, or something like that. Because, well, like, there's all these movies where they show, like, they show Santa Claus, giving presents and everything. And then they had this one movie, I think it was called, like, it wasn't like Silent Night, or it wasn't something like that, but it was like, it showed, like, Santa Claus, like, going into someone's house, and, like, well, he was going into someone's house, and then he was taking out bad guys. And, what if Santa Claus had a cousin who was kind of like that? And that's what I play. I play Camo Claus, basically a cousin that, loves the military, loves America, loves all kinds of people, and all he wants to do is just spread Christmas cheer 365 days a year, as any way possible, and, to do what, Santa Claus really does. But, the real Santa Claus is over 1,700 years old, and he only works one day out of the year. Yeah, he works, he works and gives kids presents on one day, and it happens. You just got to believe in it. I like people so much that I don't want to put any fear into people. I love people. I mean, is it wrong for, somebody to actually have, to have love and respect for people? I mean, I don't want people to think that I'm some crazy weird guy who talks to you all the time. I'm just trying to live the life that I wanted to live, which, like I say, I always wish that people would, like, follow their dreams and do what they want to do. I'm one of those kind of people that likes the movie Ed TV. I mean, and I love that movie with Matthew McConaughey, and, it's a story about a guy who basically, gets followed by a camera all the time, But the question is, now, if I was to have a camera follow me all the time, would I get bored of it? I have no idea. I mean, if I wanted to be intimate or if I wanted to be going to the bathroom, I don't think anybody really wants to follow me into the bathroom. I mean, nobody wants to see this in the bathroom. I mean, I don't even want to see this in the bathroom. No, I don't. I mean, I'm like, it's one of the reasons why I just, pray to God that, I don't even look at myself. I just go to the bathroom and go to the bathroom. Yeah, because that's what I do. I mean, have you ever gone into like a bathroom and there's another person in there and just go, no, I'm going to leave and just wait till they come out? Dude, I did that at a Buffalo Wild Wings the other day. Like, I went into the bathroom, there was a guy sitting there, and I was like, yeah, fuck this, I'm not going to go. And then I walked back to the table, and then I waited a little bit, and then I was like, oh shit, I got to go to the bathroom. And then I went in there, and the guy was gone, and then I basically pissed without anybody in the room. But see, okay, ladies, sometimes you guys think that there's a big, huge trough in there. And yeah, there's a big, huge trough. And sometimes we just like piss in the trough and we, go to the bathroom and everything. But sometimes there's these little freaking urinals that are like, 4 feet or 5 feet off the ground. Or sometimes they touch the whole entire floor. Which I like the ones that are built into the floor. Because that way when you pee, you can get it actually in the whole entire thing and not all over the fucking floor. Because sometimes, guys get it on the floor. We dribble, we shoot all over to the left or to the right. And you want to know the reason why? Is because sometimes, we can't really get, our junk to come out of the, thing. We kind of have like a turtle shell syndrome, or we kind of have like a skin issue, and we piss on our own balls sometimes. And, it happens. So, we go all over the place because, when you have a thing called the bropa or a fupa, it's the fat roll in front of the penis. Yeah, that kind of catches things and, you kind of piss all over yourself and it kind of sucks. So that's what happens. I call it a bropa. Yeah, sometimes we have this little fat pudge. It's called a bropa right before our junk. And, yeah, we piss on our own balls sometimes. So, that's kind of what happens, and that's why it goes all over the place. And sometimes when you're, like, single and you live by yourself, sometimes you just go into your bathroom and you don't even really care. You just turn the shower, you turn the faucet on, let the faucet run, and then you pee in your bathtub. And you basically let the water you aim at the hole, for the bathtub and let the water go into the bathtub. And then you clean your bathtub every once in a while. It's because we want to pee in a big ass fucking trough that we can not piss all over the floor, Because that's just how guys are. Maybe if the world sat down to pee all the time, it would be a better place. I don't know. I have no idea. Why does popcorn pop? Who knows? I mean, we live in a world full of, like, weird things. Yeah. Like, I mean, I have people who sit here and think that I'm a very funny guy, and other people think that I'm an asshole, and I don't know why. I mean, I may have different opinions than everybody else, but the thing is that I actually want to love everybody. I don't ever want to be, I don't ever want to hate anybody. No, I don't. I really don't. I don't want to hate people. I want to live my life to the fullest, because who knows? I could die tomorrow, and, like, people wouldn't really care, Because, like I said, going back to living with yourself. So, going back to living with yourself. So, if you died and you never posted anything for like 4 or 5 days on social media, your friends would wonder where you are. And then, like, they would message you or call your phone. your phone would constantly ring, and people would be like, okay, this is serious. Jack's not answering his phone. Jack's not doing anything. Jack's, what's wrong with Jax? Where's he at? What's going on? You'd try to come over to my apartment, and you'd have to, like, hit the call box, and then you'd have to try to get me to, you know, let you in the building because, this building is like Fort Knox. You have to, like, basically, know who you're going to talk to before anybody even knows you're there. And then, like, then they would have to, like, you know, come into your apartment, and then they'd have to get, like, a key to get into your apartment. And then once they got into your apartment and unlocked the door, and then they would find your body laying in, like, a stupor or in your house or whatever. Because, I mean, and then they'd be like, well, why did he not reach out? Or why did he not give a note? Or why did he not do this? It's because, dude, you were probably sitting there, enjoying yourself. Or you were probably, eating a sandwich. Or you were probably, doing whatever. And then you just killed over. I mean, nobody knows what it's going to be like when they die. I mean, I'm sorry, do I have to beautify myself before I kill myself? Because I want the paramedics to know that I was wearing Dolce & Gabbana when I was dead? I mean, nobody really cares. I mean, if you're going to go out, I mean, because, like we've all seen the scenes in the movie where, like, the guy was, like, in the bathroom and he was reading an adult magazine, and then he ended up like, having a heart attack while he was sitting there. And that happened in Clerks. Okay? And then that one girl was, like, scarred for life because she went back there and she thought it was her boyfriend, but it turned out to be a dead guy. I mean, it's... But see, we laugh about that, but it could happen. And then they make movies like Final Destination. Yeah, they make movies like Final Destination. And, of things that have happened to people. Like the person whose sunroof got left open, and then she went through a car wash and basically she died. Mm-hmm. Because that kind of stuff can happen. Yeah, but you never know when it's going to happen. I mean, that's what a lot of people don't know. They never know when their final destination is going to come up. And the movies, you go to them. You go to them, obviously, because you want to go see what the movie's all about. Because, if you don't go see it, you'll never know, like... So, if you go to the movie, yeah, then you don't feel left out when you're having a conversation with your friend about, hey, did you go see the new Final Destination movie? Yeah, I thought it was, I thought it was the same as it always was, like recycled garbage that they do over and over again. But the thing is that's how life is. People don't know that they're gonna end up dying that way, or something's gonna end up happening, But then, like, in movies like in one movies, I can't remember what it was. I think Charlie Sheen was one of the characters, and he took too much Viagra or something, and he fell off of a building, and then he lawn darted himself. I mean, into the ground. Yes, I farted. Because this is live, baby. I'm not going to hold it back. I shit my pants. No, I didn't. I'm really, I'm serious. I didn't shit my pants. But the thing is that nobody really knows what, nobody really knows when their time comes, and nobody really knows, what they're going to do for their final destination. Nobody really knows. I mean, a lot of people just really don't. They really just don't think about. They really just don't think about that. You know. I mean, they don't think about. They don't think about. Their final destination. A lot of people don't think about their final destination. They don't think about that. They think about, hey, I'm going to go to work Monday through Friday, and I'm going to do my job, and then I'm going to come home, and I'm going to, make myself something to eat, or I'm going to live my life and enjoy what I got, because you never know when it's going to be gone, I mean, there are so many people in this world who live their lives, one day at a time, because that's all they can do. I mean, people look at me and people look at me and then they think, okay, this is the same guy that does these live videos. No wonder he's single. It's because he's a loser. But underneath all of this, I'm a very genuine person. Like last night, I had this chick message me. Now, 90% of the time when a person messages you on Facebook, they have no clue who the fuck you are. Your profile comes up as a suggestion, and then when they see that you look like Santa Claus or something like that, they think, okay, this guy's actually pretty cool. This guy's pretty, decent or whatever. But the person you are talking to is probably living in a bunker in Kenya or has a fake profile, and he's trying to get information out of a guy because they have nothing better to do. So they're going to be like, well, let's just message this guy, play with his fucking emotions, and make him give us information on something that he has absolutely no idea what the hell we're talking to him for. Because the thing is that I don't really give a shit about people anymore. Because if I don't talk to you face to face, then I don't really, want to talk to you. So if I were to go to a bar, and I was to talk to you face to face at a bar, I'd first of all think to myself, well, why the hell am I at a bar? And why the hell am I talking to people? I could just go home, turn on my live on my phone, and talk to people, if they really and truly want to talk to me. But they never really interact with me anyway. I mean, my friends only message me when they really and truly have, nothing better to do. So, and they talk to me whenever they want to. Because usually today, on a day like today, Friday, I mean, it's the 4th of July, and 90% of the time, people aren't working. They're sitting around with their kids, waiting for tonight when they start shooting fireworks off. Like when they actually go to a park and they shoot fireworks off. You know what we used to do? We used to go to the lake and we'd get like a bag from our aunts and uncles. Well, I used to get a bag of like a paper bag, and inside that paper bag there used to be bottle rockets. There used to be bottle rockets, firecrackers, like stuff that wasn't very colorful and fun. But we would go around and we'd throw those around at people. We'd we'd put them in garbage cans and we'd, watch the thing catch the garbage can on fire and then be screaming and, trying to figure out how to put it out, because we burned down someone's garbage can. But we were actually running away when all that was happening. And that's what we used to do when we were kids, But nowadays, I mean, they even had a big thing on the news. Because they didn't want kids to do, chaos with fireworks. Well, okay, so what's going to happen? Are they not going to sell fireworks anymore at Walmart or, or in these stands that you can buy because they don't want kids to get fireworks and do Roman candle fights anymore? I mean, if kids do that kind of stuff, they're going to end up burning themselves, or they're going to end up either getting themselves hurt. And, that's the way that you burn. That's the way that you figure out that, hey, it's not a good idea to shoot a Roman candle at each other. I mean, but when a dog has a Roman candle in its mouth and it starts shooting fireworks at people all the time or shooting fireballs at people because the dog grabbed the Roman candle and started running around, everybody thought that was funny. But no, the Roman candle was shooting at the people. I mean, it's, but the person was filming that, so we would have never ever saw that video if that person wouldn't have turned their camera on. That's the one thing that we have social media and we have cameras. I always get talked down to about having my damn camera on because people are like, dude, you're taking up the space on Twitch, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. I mean, if you don't want to watch me, then don't watch me. But you know what you're going to do? You're going to go and you're going to turn on that girl on Twitch who's licking the microphone, and it sounds like she's playing with herself, because you know what? You're going to go run to that faster than you're going to go listen to me. Because obviously a girl licking a microphone is so hot right now. Yeah, that sounds so freaking stupid. It sounds like somebody like chewing on a banana and then like choking on it. Yeah. Another thing that I'm really, I'm really getting at is, you know what? And if Jake or Jordan was watching this right now, Jake and Jordan would probably say that there's something wrong with me. But you want to know something? I think porn is funny now. I watch porn movies now and I laugh my ass off. I just think it's so funny. I think it's comedic. I think it's so comedic. I think it's so funny. Like, I was watching a porn the other day, and there's this chick on there. I think her name's like Marza Rabbit or some shit like that. And she's this girl from like Texas or something, because she's been on all these different, things. So she's got really fake big plastic titties, and then she's got like this really ginormous ass. And there's this scene where she supposedly you can go to Melon's Tube or like Melon Tube or whatever, and Melon's Tube is all about, boobs and different kinds of categories and shit like that for porn. I laugh at porn. To be 100% honest with you, yes, to be 100% honest with you, I watch porn for to laugh at it, because I think it's fucking stupid. I think it's ridiculous. All these years of working my wrist for stupid reasons, I just laugh at porn now because I think it's funny. So this girl supposedly is supposed to be like a stepmom, and this guy's like, this kid is in the room, and she's like, so what are you doing today? And all of a sudden this stepkid's like, I'm gonna sit here in my room while I'm at like a $500 like a night resort, and I'm just gonna sit in my room and look at porn on my phone. Well, she goes down to the pool, wearing like next to nothing, dressed like a complete and utter slut, and the kid's like, God, stepmom, you're dressed like a slut. You're dressed like a slut. And she's like, yeah, you like that? You like that? And then all of a sudden she like totally like grabs him so inappropriate, and then like just like starts playing with him. And I mean, this is where it gets really graphic, and this is why, and this is what I think would be totally wrong. It's like, why would your stepmother do this to you? Like, seriously, like, why would your stepmother like literally take your drawers down and see what you got, and then say this to you? oh my God, you're bigger than your father. Who the fuck would ever say something like that? You know? And then, and then like, and then they can, and then they continue to get on with the scene. You know, it's like the gratuitous sex scene or whatever. They get it on and they do it, and it's like completely funny when they get to the end, and like, you know, the guy is like sitting here like he's trying so hard to like just keep on being him, and like, you know, and then she's saying all these fun things like, oh my God, you're so much better than your father, and oh my God, you're lasting forever. And I'm like, you know, I'm sorry, but even if I'm like, so like if I went out on if I brought a girl back to my house and she started talking to me like that, I'd be like, really? Just shut up. Nobody cares. Because I'm seriously not gonna talk to you like that. I mean, and I'm seriously not gonna be like, oh yeah, I really like to lick on your boobs and I really like to play with you or whatever. There's no guy that seriously wants to talk to a woman when he's doing the act of mating. I mean, okay, nobody really wants to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to slap you with my penis. Nobody cares, okay? They just want to get it in and get it done. They don't really care about, playing with you or talking to you. I'm sorry, but porn is so funny now because like some of the things that are on porn, like some of the things that you see on porn and stuff like that are like, like, well, I've actually looked at, yeah, okay, you know what? Unimportant, Zoom 2, shut the fuck up, dude. If you don't want to watch it, don't fucking watch it. Go fuck yourself, because go watch a chick lick a microphone, because that's probably what you're doing. You're probably living in a fucking basement, just sitting there watching a chick lick a microphone and jerking off. Just shut the fuck up, dude. I mean, I'm not going to remove the space. You can go fuck yourself. This is why I don't like Twitch. I got Twitch because, I thought Twitch was like a good place to go to because, obviously Rumble's, better than, YouTube, but I guess whatever. And then like Twitch is another place to go to, but like Twitch doesn't even hold your stuff, so you don't have to worry about it. You're live on Twitch, so if somebody wants to watch me, they can. If not, you change the station. So go fuck yourself. Whatever your person is named. Unimportant Zoom 2 is your name, so nobody really cares who you are, bro. But like, okay, so like porn nowadays is just completely and utterly fucking funny. I think it is. I watch porn now for how funny it is. And I seriously would go live and watch a porn and just sit here and diagnose it and tell you how fucking stupid it is. How fucking funny it is. Because, okay, first of all, some of the girls that are on porn, they get paid so much more than the guys do. Yeah. Like, guys get paid anywhere from $25 to $1,000 a scene. And if they're $1,000 paid actors, I mean, these are the guys that are like fucking, I don't know, rhinoceros dick guys that are so like fucking like, like Brickzilla. And the reason why I know these guys' names is because I watch a lot of this shit, but I laugh all the time. And Brickzilla and Julio, whatever, these guys, and Shane Diesel, and they basically, They're saying that these guys are like the biggest guys they're like the biggest guys in porn, okay? But then there's a guy who comes on and he has a rubber dick and he basically fucks a chick and she just thinks that, oh my God, his dick is like the most massive fucking thing in the world. Like, there's this dude that I was watching a video the other day. His name was like Redneck John or something like that. I was watching this porn. It's called Redneck John. And Redneck John is supposedly supposed to be a guy who has a 43 centimeter. Yeah, 43 centimeter, which is 27 inches long. Supposedly his dick is supposed to be like this catastrophic, huge, penis, which I don't know if it's real or fake. I don't really care. I mean, it's not like the girl is going to grab it and just go and pull it off and go, rubber dick or whatever. But, but why wouldn't she do that? So, like, there's this guy claiming that he's like super massive and he's got like this, and he's like this delivery guy. Okay, so I was watching this one porno and I thought this was really funny. So there's a girl, she's a secretary. She looks like Daphne, or she looks like Velma. Yeah, she looks like Velma from Scooby-Doo. But she's wearing like a white button-down shirt and one of those short skirts, and then the whore heels, the ones that are like the really high heels. Like, who the hell would wear those to work? Nobody. Because everybody wants to wear like flats and, walk around the office and like, just be comfortable. So, like, nobody would ever wear those to fucking work. So she's sitting there, and this guy walks in, and he's like, oh, I brought you your lunch. And all of a sudden, this girl's like, oh, thank you. And then, like, supposedly he has, like, this baguette in his pants, and basically it looks like a fucking huge-ass, like, piece of bread, and like, Subway roll, like a Subway roll, like about a 6 or 7 inch Subway roll in his pants, and she's like sitting there feeling on his Johnson, which if a girl ever touched my dick in private or in public or whatever like that, I'd be like, get the fuck off of me. What the hell are you doing? Like maybe we could go back to a hotel or something, and do this, but why the fuck would you touch me like that? And, I mean, I'd be like, why would you be touching me like that? I mean, back in the day when people used to touch you like that when you were a kid or whatever, that would be like molestation, but nobody would ever fucking think twice of it because they'd be like, you wouldn't know what you were fucking doing, so you would never really understand why, and then you would not even, and then they would tell you some things like, oh, if you tell anybody this, I'm gonna fucking, cut it off, or I'm gonna do something, and you're freaking out. I mean, that's what happened to me a long time ago, but we don't even really talk about that much anymore, because I don't think anybody really needs to know that, but it was something that happened in my life, and it happened. But the thing is it's over and done with, and I can't do anything about it now, because I don't even know where the person who did it to me, I don't even know where she's at. So, it happened back in the day. Whatever. It's over and done with now. But, like, so this girl, she touches this delivery guy's, junk and his pants, and then he pulls it down, and it's like this rubber. It actually looks like a rubber fucking dick. Like, I mean, literally, if you yanked on it and pulled the sucker off, the guy would probably have, like, maybe, like, a 2-inch or a 3-incher when it's hard, and, like, whatever, because it's basically a sleeve. It's a sleeve that goes over top of, his existing penis to make him look bigger and look better and everything else. But it's the most stupidest fucking scene in the entire world. And then she's like literally, like getting off on this, and then she starts moaning, and it's not even inserted in her. It's like, she's like, oh, you're so hot, your dick is so big, and everything like that. And I'm laughing. I'm sitting here going, why would a girl even talk to a guy like that? But if a guy tells a girl, like, hey, what is one thing that you would like to change about your body if I was to give you the money to go do it? Would you go and do it? And she'd be like, well, yeah, I would like to get my boobs done. Okay, so if a guy says that to you, you think that guy's a complete asshole? Because, there are women out there that hate the way they look every freaking day. They always hate the way they look. So they always go and try the next best fad. They always go and try the next best thing. But when somebody goes up to a girl and says, "Hey, you're beautiful," that girl's like, "Fuck you, I got a boyfriend." Or, "Fuck you, I don't care what you have to say." But, oh, you're trying to be nice and say that they look beautiful, but then they turn around and they fucking hate you. So, but see, if a guy never asked a girl a question like that, then he would never know the answer. So the thing is that girls are always insecure about their bodies, but they just don't fucking ever tell anybody about it. No, they're just insecure. There's so many people who are insecure about everything that they do. But some guys, they're insecure about their bodies, so they go out and they get steroids. They go out and they fucking do this. They go out and do that. They go out and do the next best thing to try to make themselves better for these women who are just going to turn around and use them like a diaper. Use them one time and then they're going to wash them out. Or they're going to sit there and say that they like having them around just because they eat them out good. I mean, who the fuck cares? If you want to be with a guy, but don't break his fucking heart and don't make him feel like he's just nothing but a fuck puppet. I mean, that's what I don't understand about people, and I really don't get it. I mean, I play Santa Claus, but I play Santa Claus because, one, I have fun when I do it, and I enjoy what I do, and I enjoy living my life. But the thing is that I understand that people watch my videos and people, and they say, okay, well, that guy's not really a Santa Claus because he swears all the time. Well, every time I swear or I say something bad, I put money in a swear jar and then I turn around and donate it to, I donate it to St. Jude. I donate it to, the breast cancer awareness. I always donate money to everything, dude. That's why I don't have any money, is because I'm donating it all the time. Because the thing is that I want to donate it to a good cause. But you wonder, if you're donating money to Susan G. Komen or you're donating money to St. Jude, does it actually really go to what it says it's doing, or is it just a big huge thing? Because some people say that whole, Hurricane Katrina fund or that Hurricane Katrina fund, that was just a big huge joke. We were giving money to, a fund that we thought was going to the thing, but it turned out to be a giant hoax. Because you wonder, dude, there are people all over the world that wonder conspiracies all the time. We always wonder what happened, because we want to know if we're being hosed or if our money's going to where it says it's going. And that's what the world wants to know. Some people are always mad at our presidents. Dude, we've always wondered what's going to happen in this world that we live in every damn day. Because the thing is that we all wonder. Everybody always wonders. Oh, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen there? What's going to happen there? What's going to happen here? Because that's what we always do. We always wonder what's going to happen. Because we're not sure what kind of world we live in. Yeah. This unimportant Zoom 2 person got on here and he's like, cheap viewers on steambo.net. Remove the space. So he's telling me to he's telling me to use another media platform. Well, the thing is that there's so many people using social media to do their kinds of things that nowadays everybody's trying to be a YouTube sensation. I'm not. I just do it because I think it's kind of cool. I would love to be able to, do videos on YouTube and everything else, but you have to have over 1,000 followers before anybody can actually really, see who you are. And then uploading stuff to YouTube and stuff like that it takes forever. Your phone has to upload it and then it gets on fire and then explodes, But whatever. But the thing about it is that we live in a world right now where every day people go out and try to make it with what they do, you know? And one of the things that just recently happened to me was my car broke down. My alternator wasn't charging my phone. People call me when I'm on the phone. I don't know why people call me, but I obviously got to figure out who it is, but I don't know why anybody would call me. I don't really understand that. I'm sitting at home and I don't go to work until 9 o'clock tonight, and, they want me to come in. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I'm still alive. Don't worry about the phone. I'll figure it out who it is later. I'll call them later. But the thing is that, fuck, I was interrupted now. God damn it. I lost my fucking train of thought. Yeah, I lost my train of fucking thought. What was I talking about? Okay. Oh, so yeah. Why, so I had my car breakdown. So the thing is that the alternator wasn't charging the battery. And so I broke down right in front of a shop. I went inside, asked the dude for a jumper box, and it was Dahl Automotive. It was, Dahl Automotive. They actually have really nice signs in White Park, and they tell people to come and, get their car worked on. And I've never been to the shop until now. And I broke down out in front of their shop, and I left my car there, and they diagnosed the problem, and they said that it was the alternator. And I went online, and I looked at O'Reilly's, I looked at Advanced Auto Parts, I looked at all these places, and mostly the alternators are anywhere from $300 to $500. And the reasoning is because, one, they have a core charge on them, which means that when you take the old one out, you need to give it back to them so that they can remanufacture the part, refix it, and go through and do all the shit to make it better. And, they make the part better and everything else. And they make it right. And then they sell it to another person. So, and I was trying to call Pam's Auto to find another part like that. But who wants to do all that fucking research when, you have no vehicle and you're tired of freaking, calling people and calling friends all the time. And it's kind of funny when you find out who your friends are, because you're sitting there and you're calling your friends and saying, hey, can I get a ride, or can I do something? And it's kind of like, yeah, I'll come get you, but you can hear it in their voice that they really don't want to come get you. But if you don't do it for them, then they're like, oh yeah, Jack's a real asshole, or Jack, is a douchebag because he didn't want to come help me out. But I'd give my left nut to everybody. I mean, people really think that people think that that I wouldn't do anything for anybody else. They think that I just say that I'm, going to talk a good game. But, when it comes down to it, I would give my shirt off my back to somebody. I'd give people money, because I used to give people money all the time. That's why I never had any, But whenever I needed my friends, they were never around. But, the thing is that they never are around when you need them. No. I think the only time that any of my friends are going to be around is to carry my casket. To be 100% honest with you, that's the only time I really think that's when they're going to be around. Because, you find out who your friends are really fast, But, I mean, I love all my friends. I love all my friends. I would give, if my if friends called me all the time and said, hey, Jack, what are you doing? I'd be like, hey, I'd be on the phone. But see, I had the phone just ring. I don't know who the hell it was that called me. It was probably some random ass fucking number that was trying to tell me that, I got to try boner pills, or it's probably somebody who's trying to get in touch with me and tell me to come into work. But the thing is that I don't work until, 9 o'clock tonight. I don't go to work until 9. I don't work until 10. So, I mean, and when I go to work at 10 o'clock tonight, do I really and truly want to be there? Yeah, I have to be there. But, I mean, I'm not going to have anybody come in. We're not going to have any passengers tonight. I mean, it's just going to be one of those kind of nights. I mean, it's going to be running people, to and from the airport all the time until they're happy. So, I mean, we're just going to make it work, But I love my friends. I love everybody. I really do. I really do love everybody. But, people don't really take me serious. A lot of people think that I'm weird. Because they're like, well, why do you care about so many people? Why do you care about what people think all the time? And I'm like, dude, because if people didn't, if people didn't show that they cared, then why the hell would we even have a world? Why would we live in a world? Like, some people say to me, like, that I need Jesus and I need God. Well, I believe in God. I believe that there's got to be somebody out there that created all this. I mean, but the one thing is that I always get into so I get into a religious debate sometimes about Norse mythology. Yeah. Like, okay, so there isn't really any books or anything on Norse mythology. Like, there's not really anything that tells you who Odin is. And I remember talking to this one lady, and she was really big, on Christianity, and she was really big on the Bible and everything. And then I said something about Odin, and she goes, "Oh, you mean the Marvel character?" And I said, "Really?" I said, "Odin, the Allfather." I said, the guy that, is in control of Asgard, and the guy who is Thor's dad and Loki's dad and everything else. And she goes, "Yeah, they're Marvel characters." And I'm like, "No." I said, maybe if there was a book on this, maybe if there was a book on it, you might understand it and you might read it and not think they're Marvel characters. And she goes, "Yeah, they're called comic books." And I'm like, "Oh God." She goes, "The real God is in the book called the Bible, which I think you need to totally go get one." I mean, yeah. I mean, before Bibles used to come to your house, every time when you lived in a new apartment, you would get a Bible. Or when you go to a hotel room, you can always get a Bible. Yeah. You go to a hotel room, you open up the drawer. Oh, there's always a Bible in there. So, I mean, there's a Bible in there, and I mean, people read the Bible and everything else, but there's nothing wrong with reading the Bible. There's nothing wrong with reading the Bible. There's nothing wrong with going to church. There's nothing wrong with listening to a pastor and hearing his word as he reads the scriptures or verses from the Bible. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You're not a different person just because you go to church or you don't go to church. You live your life every day to the fullest. That's what you do. You enjoy who you are. You stay in your lane and you do what you got to do. You got to take care of yourself. That's what we have to do. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to live in a world where everything is just, seeming like it's always out to get us, or we're always going to piss somebody off because of what we say or what we do. But when they do something, they don't really seem to care. They just go and do it because you're trying to be different than they are, I've never really understood any of these. I've never really understood any of these people. Like, I watch these videos sometimes, and on when they come up on my phone, and it's people who are, HOA, people who live in homeowners associations and stuff like that, and landlords and people that live in apartments and buildings and stuff like that. And I sit there and I wonder, like, do these people have anything better to do with their lives than just pester the fucking shit out of people that live in these housing developments? Like, this one guy, he has a diesel pickup. Yeah, he has a diesel pickup. He turns it on. It blows black smoke all the time. And he goes to work. And one of these ladies that was part of the HOA, I don't know, we'll just call her Karen. She comes over to his house and she tells him that he needs to stop rolling coal every day in his house. And like, the guy doesn't even really do anything. He just starts his truck in the morning, turns it on, and it just, starts up, and then he drives away, and it blows a black smoke out of his exhaust pipe. And so she's like, well, you have a modified exhaust on your truck. And he goes, well, what if I do? The thing is that the law, especially around here in Minnesota, in Minnesota, we don't have exhaust laws. We don't. No, we don't have exhaust laws. We don't have them on here. Because, we just don't. But in some places, they have, things where if you alter your car or do something to your car, they can fine you. But what you do is you just pay the fine and be done with it. Because, you're just going to keep paying the fine. And you're going to be like, hey, you know what? I'm paying my taxes. I'm paying my civic duty to be an American. And that's what I'm doing, It's not like I'm killing anybody, But homeowners associations are just so, there's so many people that if the homeowners association doesn't agree with you, they can turn around and they can tell you to move out or they can tell you to whatever, but you can just sit there and just be like, you know what? Stay in your lane. I pay my rent, I pay my mortgage, and I'm doing fine. Just leave me alone. I don't know. People in this world have way too much time on their hands. And people look at me like, Jack, you're filming yourself in your bedroom and you're talking to thousands of people on YouTube and stuff. Well, if you actually look at my viewer count, I probably don't have anybody except for this one important guy who wanted to tell me that I have to remove the space. But that's one person who viewed it. But there's nobody who watches this videos. Nobody watches these videos at all. They have nothing better to do. They just, go watch somebody else because they don't want to watch me. They would rather watch like old episodes of, Maury Povich or Jerry Springer or something like that. I don't fucking know. But today is not really about me. Today is the 4th of July. Today we celebrate our Independence Day. Today is a day of being with family and friends and having fun and doing everything. But if you have to work, you have to work. So just go to work and work your 8 hours and then go the fuck home. That's all I say to do is just work your 8 hours and go the hell home. You have to live your life. You have to, you have to live your life and you have to make money. Because, if you don't make money, you don't live. You're just bored. I had a person comment on my braids the other day. I had some girl. She was an African American girl. She commented on my braids. She told me, she's like, why are you trying to be like, she goes, why are you trying to be like me, cracker? And I was like, I'm not trying to be like you because the Vikings had these. And and I like braids because I like, cutting my hair like a Viking. I'm sorry. I mean, you know. So she called me like a racist cracker the other day, and I was like, okay. I was just like, yeah, have a nice day, whatever. Talk to you later. Bye. That's what I told her. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Talk to you later. Bye. I was like totally not having it. I just was, yeah, whatever. So, but then I also get commented on my braids all the time about, how they look cool and how they're nice and everything else. And I always wish that I would have just kept growing my hair out instead of always shaving my head all the time or cutting it short because, I'm sorry. I would rather be a long-haired hippie than be like a, be like a, like a serious asshole all the time, Somebody who, cuts their hair in a flat top all the time and looks like they're, trying to be something that they're not. Yeah. I don't know. But today's the 4th of July, so everybody have a wonderful and happy 4th of July. Be safe out there and just enjoy yourself, you know? And, yeah. Always spend time with your family because you never know when your family's going to be gone. Yeah. You never know when something's going to happen. It could happen to you or it could happen to your family. So just remember that. My final thought, yeah, I stole the final thought thing from Jerry Springer. But my final thought is this. If you don't ever ask the question, you never know you never know the answer. You'll never know the answer. And, if it hurts somebody's feelings and they get pissed off about it and they talk to you about it after it's been said and done, just turn around and be like, look, I'm sorry if it pissed you off or I'm sorry if I offended you. But the thing is that I would have never known it would have pissed you off if I would have never asked the question. Because the thing is that people don't know. People don't know, how to talk to other people unless they talk to them. Like what I mean by that is the whole world doesn't know what the whole world is thinking. Like, if you want to have a conversation with somebody, just walk up to somebody and have a conversation with them. And then if they look at you like, dude, why are you talking to me? Then you'd be like, well, I would have never known what kind of person you are if I didn't have a conversation with you. And, people keep on saying that more and more people need to go pray and need to go to church and need to go to religion and need religion in their life. They do. But one of the things that most people need to start doing is believing in themselves and being positive. Yeah, because nobody likes to be negative all the time. Yeah. I would rather have a person who has confidence in themselves and is positive around than to be around somebody who's negative all the time or is always arguing all the time. And swearing? Yeah. Some people don't like to be around people who swear all the time. And the reasoning is that people don't like to be around people who swear all the time is because sometimes swearing is meant to be threats. Yeah. So, like, when you are in the military and, like, the drill sergeant is yelling at you all the time, he's not yelling at you because he's mad at you. He's just telling you that, he's a higher authority than you are. And someday when you get to be as legendary as him, then you can yell and bark orders too. But Thing is right now it's just better to just listen to what he has to say. Because he's been there before you and he's done it. At least that's what I think. Oh, yeah. It's the 4th of July. Hope you all have a great weekend. Peace out. Doo doot, doo doot, doo doot.